With the release of The Northman, Robert Eggers once again proves that he is one of the best directors working right now. But what makes him this great? What makes him have this talent? And how do we quantify the existence of a possible next great? But what does the next great mean exactly? Well, when I think of the greats, I think of a lot of different directors. I think you do as well. But when I think of the greatest of all time, there's only really one person I think about, Stanley Kubrick. And just below that, there's probably Alfred Hitchcock and Akira Kurosawa. But under that, we have the greats. So just to put it in perspective one more time, we have the GOAT, the game changers, and the greats. But who falls into the greats? I see the greats being the Martin Scorseses, the Steven Spielbergs, the Francis Ford Coppolas. This category is reserved for these special types of directors who at one point in time owned the movie industry. Their films were on a consistent level so extremely good that they inspired so many young filmmakers to do the same. And out of all of those greats, there came this young, hungry, intelligent man called Robert Eggers. Now, at the time of me recording this, The Northman is about to bomb. And that's really sad, and I'm very disappointed in, again, the audience with what I said in Vote With Your Wallet. If you go see this movie, they will make more of this because it is so great, but nobody went and saw it, and because of the audience not responding to it, now there's a very big chance that Robert Eggers' next movie will have a significantly smaller budget. Now, he said that he would probably like to work with a smaller budget in the future, so maybe that's one positive. But even though if he wants to make something a bit more big, studios will hesitate to work with him again. With calling someone the great, I am looking at aspects of their style that only them do perfect. There's nobody else who does it like they do. And with Robert Eggers, there come a few things in mind when I think of the things he does better than any other director working right now. And first of all, that's self-awareness. His films are very abstract, are like a high-concept art house movie and focuses on characters in specific time periods. But the self-awareness that he puts into these movies is what makes Robert Eggers so great. For example, The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse can be seen as a very pretentious, standing above the audience kind of movie. But what Eggers does with it is he throws in a lot of fart jokes that I don't even find that funny. But with that, he wants to tell us, I don't think I'm better than you. I don't blame you if you don't understand this. Just watch the movie and have a good time with it. And make up your own mind. Think for yourself. I don't need to tell you anything. You can get out of this movie what you want from it. And he does the same thing in the opening of The Northman. And he uses a lot of abstract scenes in all of his movies that still make sense. And this is the most important aspect of any movie. You can have very weird scenes, but you still need to get a feeling out of watching the scene. You don't need to just be confused, just don't understand it. It's not a bad thing if you don't fully grasp what his point was, but still getting a emotion out of the scene that you're watching is very important for filmmakers to do. He isn't telling you anything. He wants you to think about the movie that you're watching. He wants you to come up with your own conclusions, while still making it entertaining for you. Still not wanting you to get bored because you simply don't get it. He's very smart in this way because it's very easy for an abstract scene to be called pretentious. But by allowing not only the technical aspect of a movie, but also the emotion in the scene to blossom, you really want to figure out what it all means, what it's all about, because the film is made so excellent. And the last point that I think he does so well, and there are a whole lot more of them, but this is the most important one, and that's research. When you're writing a story, it's so extremely important to do your research, especially if you make a historical movie. Not only for The Witch, but for The Lighthouse and The Northman as well, but especially for The Witch. Robert Eggers spent more than 5 years researching the movie before actually writing the screenplay, studying how people talked and basing the screenplay off of that. Now, with all of these movies, he does different things very well, and some even similarly. What I like most about The Witch is how subtle the movie is. The first time I watched the movie, everything completely went over my head. I didn't even realize what I was watching. I'm gonna be honest, when watching the movie, and I was like 15 or something, so cut me a break, but I was kinda bored while watching it until the very end, where everything became extremely clear to me, and that there was this movie playing, I just wasn't paying enough attention. And now, having seen The Witch 5 times now, I completely love this movie, and if The Shining never existed, this would be the greatest horror movie I've ever seen in my entire life. The subtlety in which this movie goes along, the little subtle references spread throughout, having hidden meanings behind them, it's what makes The Witch so great. He effectively pulls you in, lets you stay there, shows you every single answer that you need to know, but he doesn't tell you anything. The story is completely shown visually. People have dialogue. People have a lot of dialogue. I don't know about you, but I have trouble understanding them. But the movie is almost never about the plot, just about the relationships between the characters. While the plot is this string that is shown visually, not by any dialogue. And if you ask me, that is probably my favorite movie ending of any horror movie of all time. Now, The Lighthouse, there is something else standing out, and that's Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe as an actor is rated right now, but he wasn't really back in the day. He's this actor that has no shame, has no ego, is willing to play any single role. His chemistry with Robert Pattinson is what makes this movie so exciting. It's completely about them two, but they are the only characters that are actually in the movie. The slow descent into madness that they both experience is captured very well by an incredible shooting style from Robert Eggers. Having this squared up box and the black and white really makes you feel like you're in that era. It feels so real, while the world is so big and grandiose. You really feel like what these two characters are going through. The Lighthouse is the first film that really put him on the map, and it's clear why, because it's so well made. Now, The Northman I was extremely hyped for, I have to be honest. This was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and I think for a lot of film fans as well. And my absolute favorite thing about The Northman is, of course, the action. It is brutal and it's shot incredibly well. Every single action scene is so well helmed, and it really shows us next level planning. The planning where everybody in the background is fighting while always staying on the main character. Also, the story of revenge, it doesn't have a Disney plot, not at all. Also, the world feels so alive with all of the Norse mythology really coming through here. It is just a great Viking movie, a great story, and one hell of an action movie. What Robert Eggers proved with The Northman is that he not only can work with smaller budgets, but also larger ones like this. If you give this man money, he will make something epic. I think in years to come, he will own this specific genre. And what do I mean by that? The historical genre. And why I think in the future it probably will be a bit more successful is because people that are interested in that time period will see every single movie he makes after this and will see a certain timeline that they will like to see in a film. So Robert Eggers truly is one of the next greats. It's only a matter of time.